SportsLine is live tonight on News Channel 5 Plus. From the Midday 180, I'm Jonathan Hutton with Chad Withrow. Hear us weekdays noon to 3 on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up tomorrow on the show at 12:20, Greg Cosell of NFL Films, one of our favorite guests each week. He'll join us to break down the film of the Titans and Bills game. Plus, we'll go around the league with Greg as only he can do. It's awesome. And Doug Matthews will join us in studio as we'll talk Tennessee football with our head ball coach.
Yes.
Doug Matthews, each Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
He'll have some Spurrier stories, too. So
yeah,
it'll be a great day with Coach Matthews. Yeah.
And then primary complaint at 2:20 each and every Wednesday. We mentioned that Chad with PrepWeekly.com, amazing high school website and coverage at 104.5 The Zone each Friday. You've got a poll question up right now at your site that involves the state championship games.
Yeah, I have to give Jesse Smithy the credit on this on our website, who does a lot of our East Tennessee coverage. But he asked the question, state championship games currently are in Cookeville, Tucker Stadium, Tennessee Tech. Hutton, we're familiar with the facility there. The question is, where would you want to see the state championship games for high school football played? The options are Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, Murfreesboro, Floyd Stadium there, Vanderbilt Stadium in the Mid-State, Tucker Stadium in Cookeville is another one, and then the Liberty Bowl in Memphis are the options. Now, maybe I'm biased here because I work in Nashville, I live in the Mid-State. I would vote Vanderbilt Stadium just because central location, you're in a city like Nashville, would be a great spot to host the game. But I heard from a lot of people on Twitter about this, and it's amazing the different responses you get. Now, I think it would look ridiculous in Neyland Stadium because there would be about 2,000 people on each side, and it would look completely empty. But it would be pretty cool to play a state championship game in Neyland Stadium for the players, just to say they've played there. As far as historic stadiums in the state, that's the one. But curious, Hutton, what do you think? Where would you like the game to be played? Murfreesboro was a good locale for them as well.
Murfreesboro was good. I like the Vanderbilt idea because of the Mid-State and the downtown connection. I think Cookeville's done a tremendous job since receiving the contract to host the games as a city and as a site. I think Tennessee Tech does a nice job. The problem I have with Cookeville is the Memphis schools do not travel well, period. And they're not going to. Those are a lot of the schools that are represented when it comes to the state title games. And the smaller schools that are there, that make a title run, that make a push to Cookeville, we see some nice crowds, but you also can see some empty crowds in stadiums as well. Is it too far on one direction of the state to be there? I think the city does a nice job making that a big event. I understand why they want the event there, but sometimes I scratch my head and think, especially if you're in West Tennessee, are you likely to make that trip?
Yeah, I think the only way to make it fair is to go Murfreesboro or Nashville from a geographic standpoint. If you've got teams coming from the Tri-Cities in Northeast Tennessee and Memphis, you can meet in the middle. Now, it's going to be an advantage for teams from Nashville or Murfreesboro that make it to the state championship game to have a game in their own backyard. I also think you look at the need for each city. Who needs it? I think Cookeville has shown they need it. They want that game because it drives tourism to the Upper Cumberland, and they really enjoy having that game. I'm not sure Nashville needs the state championship games. They can look at any weekend, weekend of the year, and say, hey, we're going to have a bunch of people here for this, or this. We're going to have a bunch of people here for bachelor and bachelorette parties or whatever it may be.
Right, yeah.
So they look at the first weekend of December and say, would there even be enough hotel rooms that time of year to host everyone that needs to come in for the state championship game?
And affordable hotel rooms.
No, exactly. And you're going to get that in a place like Cookeville or Murfreesboro for the most part. So it's an interesting debate to go back and forth. A lot of votes. I think a lot of Tennessee fans just automatically saw Neyland Stadium and just blindly clicked on that one. I don't think that makes a lot of sense from a feasibility standpoint. It would just look ridiculous in a 100,000-seat stadium. But I really like the idea of Vanderbilt Stadium. Also factor this in. Natural grass versus turf. I don't think any natural grass stadium is going to want to host those games because you are going to tear up your field.
I'd love to see it, though.
Oh, that time of year, though, with those conditions and everything, game after game each day, that's where you really get the wear and tear on the field. So I think they enjoy hosting it on an artificial surface for that very reason.
And if you haven't been to the state title games in Cookeville or in Murfreesboro for basketball, because it's a nice venue at Murphy Center when they host the state title games there, and at Lipscomb. Do a nice job. And the poll is not centered around who's doing the best job or who would. It's just location, and I think it's an interesting discussion to have.
It's where would you like to see it played? And I think for different people, there could be someone getting on there and saying, well, I live in Knoxville, so I want it to be in Knoxville, or I live in Memphis, so I think they should come to the Liberty Bowl. But fascinating to think about it. But it's going to be in Cookeville right now, and I'm with you, Jonathan. I like going to Cookeville because I feel the people of the Upper Cumberland region, they appreciate it. They want you there. They treat you like they want you there. They treat everyone that's a part of the event like they want the event there. So I think that's really cool to see, and I hope it continues there.
What's the game of the week, this Friday night?
That is a great question. I have not really looked at the schedule
Is it
for this
Riverdale,
Friday.
Oakland?
Yeah, I was going to say Riverdale, Oakland. There's another, and I'm blanking on it. There's another big private school game this week. Franklin Road Academy, Davidson Academy is a big game in Division II Class A. I would go Riverdale, Oakland, though. I mean, that's kind of the old school throwback game. Riverdale struggled at times this year, but this is one of those rivalry games where crazy things happen.
But they're 3-1 in the region, I believe, right?
Yeah. Region's down a little bit this year. I think the Rutherford County region is. You know, Siegel, who's been really good in years past, not having a very good season. Smyrna's pretty good. I think you look there. But, you know, for a lot of those teams, it's been a struggle, more so than in past years. But Oakland has separated themselves as the best team in that region. I think Riverdale, you know, a step behind them, probably right there with Blackman behind Oakland. But again, it sounds cliche, but it's one of those games where you throw the record books out because crazy things have happened. The team you think's going to win this game and win big, they lose big in this game sometimes. So this is a huge test for Oakland, a team that I have in my top 5 on prepweekly.com of all the classifications in the mid-state.
Follow Chad on Twitter at WithrowZone. I'm at Hutton1045. You can follow the show at Midday180. Stick with us. We'll wrap up SportsLine coming up here on News Channel 5 Plus.